I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.
Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on Logic Before Authority. And I wish that there was a way, and there kind of is, but it don't seem to work very well when I try to do it. But I wish there was a way that I could just sit down and just have a conversation, and kind of express some things kind of face to face, so that I think it could come across easier. Because when you get here and you hit record and the clock is ticking and it puts the camera sometimes it's on you or whatever, but it puts pressure on you a little bit, and it distracts somewhat from the information or the conversational thing that you might want to try to do. You can script, but I really typically don't like doing that. Rarely do I script anything. I just hit record and start talking. I guess what I'm talking about kind of is, we've all heard the term order out of chaos, but do we really understand it? Okay. Even the term rise from the ashes, we've heard that one before, but do we really understand it? Today we're going to kind of stick with the order out of chaos thing a little bit, and a couple of other things I'm going to take a look at as well, maybe today. Historical UFO UAP sighting reports from 1900 to 2024. Put together this line chart showing, the wave of UFO reports as compared to the wave of movies that came out and TV shows about that as well. And the matching of the timing is exceptional. Might have time to get into this one. Something else I'm working on is, I've said to y'all guys, in order to understand technology and the possibilities of technology, you first have to study everything in the world. You have to study your body. You have to study the way your eyesight works. You have to study, because the way your eyesight works is the way cameras are made and work. But you have to study all kinds of things in the world. Like, why are these creatures able to be nearly invisible? Like the glass frog, or glass squid, or barrel-eye fish, comb jellyfish, larval eel, sea salt, transparent shrimp, glass shrimp they call them sometimes, ice fish, and other animals that are able to have what's called active camouflage, and are able to modify their skin texture, such as like the stonefish, and really pretty much all these things. They're modifying things in order to camouflage themselves, but also become better predators and all kinds of things. Like the octopus, they can almost make themselves look like anything. And then this is something else I'm studying, and there's reasons why I'm studying it. Definitely reasons why I'm studying it. And then there's a few other things that I'm, there's a lot of other things, just a few more that I'm going to give you a little peek at here. Is this. I we've all heard me talk about the number 88 as related to Trump and as related to time travel and as related to a lot of things. And it's obvious that it is a very important message. Like it says here, it's not just a number, it's a message. And there's some things that are quite interesting and related to the number, and I just keep digging and putting some things together. I'm working on that. And of course, I'm still working on my documentary called The Secrets of the Trees. Okay. And what I'm doing, and part of it is I'm looking at all of the, what you'd say, somewhat rare minerals and things that we find when we start digging in the earth, and what all of the coincidence, you might say, of how they are found and where they're found, and so on, and how it has to do with the trees. I would say it's safe to say that coal, rare earth elements, diamonds, copper, silver, gold, platinum, and many, many, many other things came from the giant trees of old. Like, for instance, gold and silver form in hydrothermal veins. That's another word for giant ancient tree roots. Diamonds are formed, down in the earth, but are brought closer to the surface by volcanic eruptions, which again has to do with the ancient trees, because volcanoes are the ancient trees. All that stored hydrocarbon and energy from the sun is stored under the ground. Even where the tree dies or is cut down, those roots and the stump are still there. And in some cases, they end up under pressure and time, they end up throwing up over and over sometimes. So these are, some different things that I'm working on. Another thing with looking at the tree in the center of the garden, or in the midst of the garden, which means the middle. But I think mainly what I'm going to try to talk about here is order out of chaos. Okay. Y'all guys mostly all realize that they're throwing everything they've got, and ever increasingly throwing more and more. Every week it's a little bit more. Every week it's a little bit more of some kind of breaking truth. Like Epstein, breaking truth, it's like, oh yeah, well, yeah, everybody knows it now, what's going on, right? And it's true. Yet it's a distraction. It's part of the chaos. The wars that are going on, the pandemic that we all went through, and they still keep acting like they'd love to do another one. Lockdowns, riots, civil unrest, the political division where everybody thinks that there's still actually a government that's for the people and by the people. And like, what is a woman? And then we've got the aliens, and you got AI, which is creating any and everything, so you have no clue what is real or not, at least when you see it on the internet. We've got shortages of oil, shortages of all kinds of things. They're claiming the climate crisis is a problem, but all of these things they've got their hands in, you see. And they're all being used in order to create chaos in the mind of the people. And so it's a distraction, all these things. Yeah, there's a lot of truth there. And they want us to know at this point in time, they've switched their game, and they want us to know that there is something real when it comes to some of these things, like Epstein and all of his cronies that have all been doing all these things with children from around the world for a very long time. But see, it's nothing new. That's been going on for thousands of years. They used to take children, and maybe they still do, but throw them into the fire to Baal. And that's been going on forever. The molesting of children has been going on forever. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not important, because it's absolutely important. But let's take another example, like the wars. Is it important? Is there people dying? Yeah. But they're the ones behind it and in control of it, just like they are with all these things. But it's all chaos. It's a distraction. So what are they distracting us from? What do they not want us to see? What is it that they're not talking about? They're not hinting at, that they don't want us to focus our time on and to come to understand. Now, we could just narrow that down as to a very spiritual thing, and it may be just that. You know, the spiritual war that we are in. Also, you could call it the silent war, or the invisible war that every one of us here are in, whether you realize it or not. You've been in it your whole life. Your children are in it. They're under attack. If you're sending your children to school, their minds are under attack every day. And then in order to be able to go to that school, they have to take a bunch of snake bites, don't they? I mean, some of the things that I can see that they don't want us to look at because they're not talking about it is depopulation. They clearly have a goal that they want to reduce the population of the world down to a more manageable number, as they see it. So that's one of them, depopulation. They don't want us to find out what we really are and the authority that we hold and the power that we have. They definitely don't want us to find that out, and they're not talking about it. They're not hinting at it, but it's there. But I want to know what y'all guys think. If you would, put a comment below, and before you put your comment, try to look at some of the other comments. Maybe sort the comments by popularity of thumbs up or something like that. I think you can do something like that. And if you see someone else that has commented what you're thinking, just thumb theirs up. You don't have to create a whole new comment. You can reply to their comment. But let's try to see if we can come up with a list of what is it that they don't want us to focus on. What is it that they're trying to keep us from? Because this chaos has a purpose. Purpose is to make us know what, we don't know what to believe, because they've got some events coming that are going to amplify that. Like they're rolling out with alien disclosure right now. Supposedly like 3 or 4 days ago, Mr. T came out and put out some images, allowed some images to be put out that are just the most ridiculous images I've ever seen, but they may and they ultimately will come out with some things that are going to be shocking. But when those come out, it's going to be in the sky above you. Like the giant triangle-shaped crafts that are going to freak some people out, unless you know they're man-made. And also unless you know that your God who is with you is more powerful than these things. And that you should have no fear of these things. You can walk in the comfort of knowing that Father is with you at every single microsecond. How do you know that, Daniel? Because it's been proved to me in my life that Father is with me every microsecond. If he wasn't, I'd be a dead man right now. I can assure you. But these things are coming, and they're going to be used to amplify the order out of chaos. Now, we could also think, well, what is it that's always been kind of their goal is to be like God, right? They want to be like God. They want to be the God of whatever's left so far as population goes when they get done with this campaign that they're doing to create the new order, the new world order that they're going to try to get out of the chaos. It's just, well, let's just do what I was asking, if you would. Make a comment down below and tell me what you think they're distracting us from. Whatever it is, it don't matter if it sounds crazy or if it don't, or maybe it's absolutely completely logical. But put it in the comments below. I will do want to go back here and point this out. See, the movies started in 1903. The third movie ever made that was black and white. It was called a Trip to the Moon, where they found when they got there, supposedly aliens were on the moon. And they got back in their ship and took off and ran, right? Anyways. And then there were other little things along the way, but when this really took off, and when people started actually seeing UFOs and reporting them, was in the 40s. Around 47 to be exact. This is technology that's been around for a long time. They've had the ability to build and deploy and fly crafts in the skies that make very little sound, can go extremely fast speeds, and have extraordinary capabilities since the 40s. The Nazis, there's a lot of hints about the Nazi bale, and it ultimately is all about frequency. Once you study nature well enough, you can understand how it works and how you can defeat what we call gravity. And by creating your own gravity envelope, and I use that word gravity very loosely, but it's all about how frequency works, the plane of inertia, how it works. It's tied to how a hurricane works, which is why I keep bringing up hurricanes. It's tied to how a tornado works and can lift trains up in the air and they float around like they're just, or Mack trucks and things like that. It's tied to nature and understanding nature, and they've studied it. They've had a long time to study it, and they've got these crafts. and all the sightings and everything have the pushing of it, the intentional exposure of it continues to push. Like in the 1980s, people started to see an increase in the black triangle crafts. Black triangle is what some people call the TR3B. I've seen it with my own eyes. Literally probably less than a football field from me, and it was the size of a football field. Hovering above the trees, I stopped the car, got out, looking up at it. It started to move back down the highway the way it came from. I jumped in the car, went down, me and Miss Kim went down, jumped out in front of it, and here it comes sailing over the top of the trees. Me and Kim seen it. As it's coming straight at me, I'm standing there with the camera filming, and it just turns like it's on rails, completely smooth. I can tell you they've got this technology. And if they've got that, they've got a lot more. I keep bringing this stuff up because I'm trying to prepare you so you will not be afraid because of the things coming upon the world. It's so that your heart will not fail you, so that your faith will not fail you, because that's one of the things they want to happen, is they want your faith to fail you. They want you to believe that the God that you thought, no, they don't want, they want to break that. They want to give you a new God, their God. All this timeline right here corresponds exactly the same by coincidence. When I was doing the research on all the movies, all the alien movies and television shows that have been put out since the 1900s, like the trip to the moon in 1902, third movie ever made, they invented aliens. And then in 1959, The Twilight Zone, and of course, tons of other movies and TV shows. But if you look at the timeline of the increase of the numbers of them, the timeline goes bananas in the 40s. Prior to that, it was relatively very little. In the 40s, because then they had the technology figured out, and they started pumping the movies because they want you to believe, or at least think it might be possible, because they're going to try to take away your God and give you theirs. Hope you understand. Sponsors for today's show, or actually I was busy and didn't get a chance to get them all listed out. There's a couple of them. Daniel L., Kimberly G. We have one that requested to be anonymous. If you decide for some reason you would like to donate to my work, that you see it as being valuable and it should continue, you can request to be anonymous. There's one of two ways you can do it. When you donate, like if it's on PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, you can put like the word anonymous, or just say, don't mention my name, in the little message area, little note area, message area. Or when you do donate, if you put, say you donated $10, if you change it to $10.50, okay, any number that's not a round number. So if you donate $11.32, I'll know that you don't want your name to be mentioned. I'll credit as anonymous, simple as that. I do mention those because I want people to know that there are people that believe this work is important besides just myself. So thank you to our anonymous donor. Thank you to Kimberly G. Thank you to Daniel L. And I think there was one more, and I didn't get a chance to get it put together the day before, but I'll mention it next time for sure. And also thank you to Diana M., David Q., and Christopher B. for being supporters. And I'm going to start tracking also how many months. For instance, Daniel L. consistently every month now for, I'd say, 3 years, Daniel L. has donated something to support my work. Kimberly G. is probably about 9 months. Karen J. Deserves credit again too. I need to add her on that. Karen J. She has been supporting my work now for 5 years, every month. What do you say to that? You know, there are no words that are good enough. All I can do is do what I promised, which is to continue doing the work. I'll get it updated next time and get everything straightened out a little bit better. All right, guys, I hope you learned something from this. And I love you, and we'll see you again real soon, okay? And don't forget, our Father is on the throne. And there's no one that can dethrone him in your life but you. Times are coming where we're going to have to stand very strong. But you can do it. I believe in you.
I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.